Okay, can we start?
Yes, sir.
So you can any doubts from the previous discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, so can we start with the new topic?
Yes, sir.
So new topic is positivism and its critique. Okay, so we will see what you mean by positivism and is there any changes in sociological positivism or we modified positivism or not, and then we will see the criticism in following this positivist principles in sociology, and this criticism actually led to the development of non-positivism, and this is what we will discuss in the next session. So this is directly there in your syllabus, this is also directly there. So initial perspective was positivism, then because of a lot of criticism, a lot of objections faced in the use of positivism in sociology, later non-positivist perspective emerged, which involved phenomenology, ethnomethodology, etc. That we will see in the next session. So this is actually because of criticisms of positivism. Okay, so first we'll try to understand what is positivism. Now this can also be understood in the context of development of sociology on the line similar to natural science that we have discussed yesterday. So initial sociologists wanted to make sociology on the line similar to natural sciences, so they have used all those methods which is actually used in natural science. So in that context, the initial sociologist always stressed on positivism because positivist principle was directly in sync with natural science, or in natural science the positivism is what actually the perspective which is used. So when you see positivism, all the elements that we discussed yesterday in case of science, almost all the things will repeat here. Like if you talk about positivism, it's all about empiricism, naturalism and inductivism. Somebody's mic is on, can you turn it off? Inductivism. So these are the three principles of positivism also in general. Okay, but in sociology some small changes will be there. Maybe the initial sociologist, if you see, in sociology it cannot be purely empirical, it cannot be purely inductivist. So in that context some modification was there, but the main idea is related to empiricism, naturalism, inductivism. I've told you empiricism means the positivist stress on studying the external realities. So this is the most important point. So positivist always stress on studying the external realities, but when it comes to non-positivist like Weber, I've told you already when we discussed about scope of sociology, it is not all about external realities. So there are internal meanings, motives, emotions, all these things also constitute the social reality. So that is the most important aspect of sociology because you are dealing with human beings, so you need to understand the meanings attached by the actor to the action. So non-positivist is talking about internal aspect. Okay, so we will come to this internal aspect later. At least when we discuss about the criticism, I'll raise these criticism. Apart from that, when we discuss about non-positivism also, we will discuss this point in detail. But now you just need to know the positivist is focusing only on external aspects. For example, you can talk about Auguste Comte stressing on studying only external aspect and ignore, and he even claimed that the sociologist should refrain from studying the internal aspects in terms of meanings, motives, emotions, etc. Okay, so that's about the initial phase. So study external realities, and the second and most important point that you need to write here is these all are continuation. The first three chapters are almost same. You need to say the use of scientific methods. So use scientific methods because positivism is all about science only. So use scientific methods in the study for the purpose of establishment of cause and effect relation of any phenomena that you're studying, and you have to do it objectively. So you can see here the words that I'm using. All these words will automatically come to you when we're done with sociology. So this is all about studying external realities, not at all internal. Okay, then scientific methods has to be used, establish the cause and effect relationship, and you have to do it objectively. That means there should not be any preconception, there should not be any value. In fact, I should have done this topic objectivity today, but since I have sent this topic to you, I am starting with this topic. After completing non-positivism, we will discuss objectivity. Okay, so objectively, and you have to also establish the theory. Okay, so there should be a theory. That means a theory means what? It is all about generalization. So you have to study an external reality, you have to study it scientifically, you have to establish the cause and effect, and it should be objective, and you have to generalize it, and that must be testable also. So exactly the same things that we have discussed in case of science yesterday, those same elements are coming here. Okay, so externality was there, but when we discussed about science, we have discussed in terms of intersubject reliability, quantifiability, okay, and then objectivity and theoretical orientation, testing. In that you can see objectivity is coming here. Here we are talking about objectivity, here we are talking about theory, here we are talking about testing. And scientific methods, external realities. So this is what positivism, so main elements if you see. So the main elements that we need to discuss here, if you see, what are the main elements? The main elements are, you study the external reality. Now how you study? You study by using scientific methods. You study by using scientific methods, and you study the external reality. So by using scientific methods you study, and you establish cause and effect relationship. So you establish the cause and effect relationship, and when you do it, you have to do it objectively. So you have to do it objectively, and then you generalize it in terms of theory. So you can generalize it, and it should be testable, and this should be capable of generating the same result, same conclusion. There should be reliability, and also validity. Okay, so it should be reliable and it should be valid. So what is reliability, what is validity, etc., all these things we'll discuss again in the third chapter. But here these are the key points that you need to know to write this particular answer. Now you can so that's about positivism. Okay, so these are the elements of positivism. Now how will you criticize? You can criticize by saying that the first thing that you can take, so yeah, prediction also you can add here. Positivism also involves, that means theory means it's all about prediction only. Theory is generalization, right? Theory, when I'm talking about theory, that involves the prediction. That's what I've told you, it should be testable. So prediction is already part of it. So you study the external reality, yeah, then use scientific methods, cause and effect relationship, objectivity, theory building, testing, reliability, validity. So what are the criticism? Now let's take one by one. You can start with this external aspect. So you can use the non-positivist argument here. You can say sociology is studying the human being. Human beings have their own emotions, they have their own meanings, so they act upon their meanings. Now why I am taking this class? It is not because society is asking me to take class. I can do anything. It is the meaning which I have developed in my mind, and that is why I am teaching. So the society is so much individualistic. Society is based on individual consciousness, individual's meaning, individual's motives. So if you are focusing on external aspect, that won't give you the correct picture of reality. So you should be focusing on the individual meanings. Okay, so here externality means it is also talking about macro reality. So here they are talking about micro reality, and you study the meanings, motives, etc. So what is this? This is the internal sides. So the criticism is this, one criticism, because your topic is positivism and its critique. So this is the first criticism. Then what about scientific methods? See, initial sociologists, they directly use methods from natural science. I have told you already, Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, and even to that extent when we talk about Durkheim, when we discuss, there is a theory of suicide. So I have told you already that in the theory of suicide, he is using statistical techniques, which is a quantitative method, which is directly from natural science. So his theory of suicide is a classical exhibition of the use of statistical techniques in sociology. So what I'm saying is, we have used scientific methods directly from sociology in the beginning, and Durkheim in his later theories like religion, if you see in theory of religion, he developed methods which is suitable for sociology, that is indirect experiment. You don't want to worry about listening to these words. Okay, we will be doing all these in thinkers. So these methods, indirect experiment, etc. What I'm saying is, as a supporting argument of sociology using scientific method, we can say directly methods from natural science we used, and then later sociologists developed scientific methods for sociology. But now we are criticizing. When we are criticizing, what we will say, the natural science method cannot be used in sociology. There is obvious there are a lot of problems in the theory of suicide because of use of statistical techniques, and the later methods which is Durkheim developed also face the problem of subjectivity. Then cause and effect, it is very difficult to establish cause and effect relationship in sociology objectively, because sociology is dealing with human beings who's having meaning, emotions, internal aspects. Theory building, again we can say a lot of theories which are formed by the sociologist are seldom proved correct in reality. Many laws were actually rejected, and there is obvious limitation in testability also. So almost similar to what we have discussed yesterday in case of science, exactly the same as what we are going to write in a slightly modified form in the case of positivism. So only thing that you need to remember here is, yesterday we talked about few words like intersubject reliability, and then quantifiability, and then theoretical orientation, then objectivity, and then testing. So here almost similar, this will come, testing will come, objectivity will come, theory building will come. What you can add, study only external reality. Even science also study external reality, but we didn't mention yesterday. Okay, science never study meanings, motives, etc. In that context we don't want to mention. Here we need to specifically mention. Then what I've told you is establish cause and effect. So science also establish cause and effect of everything. So these are actually part of this also. Okay, so that's about positivism. So I have told you the supporting argument, and I have also given you the criticism also. Okay, any doubt, or can we move to the PDF? Any doubts we can discuss?
Sir, what is termed as external reality?
External reality means, in the beginning itself I have told you empirical. Empirical means it is too much external reality, like something which is tangible, which is which you can see and which you can touch. That is what actual empirical. But when we talk about external reality, means something which is external to individual. It is not something which is within the minds of the individual, like not meanings, motives, emotions, etc. External means like religion is external, family is external. So you study these. For example, when we talk about ethics and morality, okay, in ethics I'll discuss this later. I'll take ethics for you people. So ethics and morality both are related to what? Rights and wrongs, right? Both are actually deciding rights, wrong, good or bad, right? So both ethics and morality is talking about the same. So both are actually same. But if you look, if you ask me what is the exact difference between this, the actual difference is this thing, that ethics is talking about the collective values of society. So this is from society point of view, or this is group oriented. But when we talk about morality, it is individual oriented. Okay, but otherwise it is basically both are deciding whether it is right or wrong or good or bad. Both ethics and morality are same. Value is a different concept. Value means it is all about importance, preferences, like desirability, undesirability, preferability, rejection, superiority, inferiority. For example, if I carry a patriarchal value, that means I prefer a male child. I consider male child as superior, and the male child is desirable. If I am talking about gender equality, that gender equality value will be entirely different. Okay, for example, again if you talk about any other case, that is value. Value means importance. Value means desirability or undesirability. Value means preferability. So preferences. Ethics and morality, on the basis of that we decide the rights and wrongs, or good or bad. So society or group, that is what ethics. Like it can be profession also. So professional code of conduct is actually coming under ethics. But individual values, okay, that is part of morality. For example, sometimes individual value can go against society, where there can be value conflict. For example, when we talk about anti-Sati resolution, or during that period, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, when we talk about what was the ethic of the society, what was the morality, or what is the collective idea or the collective value. Sati is a part of religion, so Sati has to be there. That is a collective value, or that is considered as right, that is considered as good. But individuals started thinking in a different way. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that is why he is considered as father of modern India. According to his morality, that is not right, that is actually wrong. So he considered that is wrong. So in this context, value conflict will come. Similarly, when we talk about LGBT, so if you go with the society consider this as bad, but some individual consider this is too private individual, they are consenting individual and they are doing their private act. So what is the problem? Even this 377 is also not there. So this is what you mean by internal and external. Here also you can understand something talking about societal point of view, that is external, which is not within you. You cannot do anything over that. Society is saying that. Same is the case with religion, same is the case with family. So all these ethics, when I'm talking about which is society oriented or group oriented, all these are coming from where? Religion, family, education, your profession. So these are part of your external reality. But when we talk about morality, I'm talking about my internal conscience. So this is the collective conscience. We will discuss this in Durkheim also. So not only in ethics we are going to discuss all these things, sociology also going to help a lot in your ethics. Okay, so
Sir, can you elaborate naturalism and inductivism?
Inductivism, naturalism is also similar to this empiricism only. Naturalism focuses more on material factors, again related to this tangible cases. Inductivism is a process of theory building. Inductivism is actually followed in science. So it is a step-by-step procedure that you adopt to make a theory. Like you might have done in your +2 some physics experiments in the lab, right? So what you do first, you go for you do some experiment, you collect the data, you interpret the data, and then you go for some drawing of graphs or something. That's the interpretation part. Then you will make some generalization, and you will do it again, and you will make the testing. So these steps that you follow, like collection of data, first you collect, then you interpret, okay, then you generalize, that means theory, and then it should be testing. So this is the inductive method. This is normally followed in natural science, and initial sociologists followed inductivism, because initial sociologists were positivist. Positivists are from they are believing in science. They want to make sociology similar to science, so they followed this approach, inductive approach. That's what we are talking about, inductivism. On the other hand,
what is material?
Material means all these tangible items, tangible cases.
Material reality.
Material reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Now, yeah, that is what I have told you. Material reality means whatever existing in society actually. External, it is also connected to external aspects. Like this pen is whatever I am using, all these things are material reality. I am talking about something which is external. Okay, now when we talked about inductivism, deductivism is actually the exact opposite of this. So in case of deductivism, which is more suitable in sociology, first you make the hypothesis and you collect data to prove the hypothesis. For example, we have discussed already that if you are conducting a study on domestic violence, you will make a hypothesis that domestic violence is because of alcoholism, and then you collect data to prove that. That is deductivism. So first theory is there, then you prove it. Here it is, first collect data and follow the process, and then you realize the generalization. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Tell me.
Sir, in case of inductivism and deductivism, okay. So in case of inductivism, okay. So first we generalize.
Yes.
Okay. And then we conclude the theory. This is the theory building part. Okay. So generalization happens when maximum cases, including the maximum cases where we are not including some of the aspects. Like 10 cases are there. In 7 cases, the domestic violence is due to alcoholism. Okay.
Yeah.
3 cases, this is due to patriarchy and some other things. Okay. So when generalization will happen, so we will consider the maximum incidents happened. Okay. And that with the alcoholism. Okay. And so we are ignoring the 3 cases where the cause of domestic violence was different, right? And in case of deductivism, we are considering that the domestic violence, the reason of domestic violence is alcoholism. Okay. And when we are concluding, we are making the theory on the basis of assumption that we considered before the making of theory.
Yes.
So in both the cases, we are ignoring some of the aspects. So in this case, both inductivism and deductivism are the same, because in both the cases we are ignoring some of the aspects. So how can we differentiate that? That inductivism and deductivism are different? Because in both the cases we are ignoring some of the aspects.
1 second. Okay. You're saying this one. So a better statement of this will come in the next analysis. When we talk about non-positivism, I'll talk about Karl Popper and the deductive approach. What he's saying is, there is an element of scientific factor in deductive approach also. According to him, there is no contradiction between positivism and deductivism. Like positivism follow quantitative approach, so 7 out of 10 as you said. So you are ignoring something. It's similarly here also, if that is considered as scientific, non-positivism or the deductivism can also be considered as scientific according to this person. So after this, there is no differences between inductivism and deductivism in case of sociology.
Okay, so as the sociology gain is further progress, the difference between the inductivism and deductivism,
that is gone, and people or the thinkers and the theorists are using both approach as per the convenience. For example, some people use inductive, some people use deductive, some people use quantitative and some people use qualitative, and some people will use combination of both, or some cases you will use inductive to make the theory and for testing you will use deductive or means qualitative. So nowadays the methods and perspectives and everything is actually a mixed approach. So I've told you from 1940s onwards, when we discussed about the scope of sociology, especially after Merton Parson, micro-macro integration, inductive deductive approach, C. Wright Mills combined scientific humanist approach, Karl Popper combined inductive deductive approach. So combination is actually using now, and that is advantage for you only. So postmodern approach is integration of all. Whatever is good, whatever is convenient, we are using based on the theorist convenience.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So there is nothing like you have to stick to this particular theoretical purity in the modern context. You don't want to stick to any theoretical purity. Nobody is sticking to inductive, or nobody is purely positivist. Nobody is even non-positivist also. That was gone, especially after the time of Weber. Only during that Durkheim's and Weber time this debate is there. On one side positivist formal school and then synthetic school. After Parson, that means after 1940s, that debate has been started fading away. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
is it like always there is a thesis, then antithesis, then synthesis?
Yes. That this
And
and
in this way also we have to write the answer also with the paper.
no, here you don't want to write that. Here nobody will ask you that kind of question. You can just say, in case if it is demanded, integrated approach. This thesis, antithesis, etc. we will discuss when we discuss about Marx. That is there. You need to study that. Dialectical materialism. There we will discuss that. Here not. So can we move to the PDF now?
Yes, yes.
So positivism as a perspective was one of the initial attempts to understand the social world in a systematic manner. In sociology, positivism during 19th century had an overwhelming influence of natural science. It was an attempt to visualize the social world by using intellectual parameter employed by natural sciences. Okay? So it aims at understanding the social world as a sequence of cause and effect relationship between object that one can observe. As a theoretical perspective, positivism is guided by three interrelated ideologies: empiricism, naturalism, and inductivism. It is explained here already what is empiricism, etc. Empiricism advocates foundation of knowledge in terms of observation, something which can be seen, something which is tangible, etc. Naturalism considers the material reality as supreme and the basis for social order, and you will understand this more in detail when we discuss about Marx. Marx is talking extensively about material reality, economic infrastructure, etc. In case if you have any doubt.
Sir, I have a question. That human behavior is an external aspect or internal aspect?
Internal aspect.
So, sir, empiricism advocates foundation of knowledge in terms of observation.
Yes.
Okay. So, human behavior is an internal aspect. So we can observe the internal aspect. So in that case also, if internal meanings, internal aspect are there, so empiricism is working also.
No, I didn't get you.
I'm asking that you said that human behavior. Okay, human behavior is an internal aspect, right? So can we observe or not? The human.
No, see what these people are saying, what the positivists are saying is the human behavior is internal aspect. But why you behave so? It is because of the external reality. It is either because of either because of family. Why am I teaching here? It is because of my family. So the way I am behaving here, it is all because of some external aspect for positivist. But for non-positivist, they will tell that I am behaving out of my own motivation and my own meaning, my own perspective.
So, but the thing is, there is a human behavior.
Yes.
Okay. Why this particular person is behaving is a particular manner? This is a subjective thing. Okay. The human behavior is an objective thing, and the why he is behaving in a particular manner is an objective, subjective thing. So, positivist is making concentration on the objective reality. Okay. So positivism is not positivist is not concerned about why the particular person behaving in a particular manner, except he is concentrating on the particular thing, like the human behavior. So in that case, if human behavior is an internal aspect, empiricism is working because it is observable. We can observe it.
That is what positivists are saying. It is observable. That is what positivists are saying. But what is the criticism? Criticism is these behavior are not necessarily because of the external aspect. It is internal aspect. That is a criticism. So we are talking both sides. We are saying it is working from the positivist side, and we are saying it is not possible from the non-positivist side. Both has to be incorporated here. We are talking about both here. We are not saying that in the beginning we are saying it is working. It is everything can be observed, everything can be quantified. If you remember yesterday also I have told you, Durkheim even tried to quantify even the extreme abstract forms in terms of social fact. Extreme abstractions he tried to quantify.
So
you got it?
Example?
No, example means even division of labor. that is an abstract form. He is trying to quantify that in terms of social fact. Suicide, that is again an abstract thing. Religion is also abstract. So these are the theories which is given by Durkheim. So he explained religion as a social fact. Social fact, not only social fact, this can also be considered as things. This is a key word there. So can you ever consider social fact or religion as a thing like natural science? In natural science, we are dealing with matter. We can say things and we can touch that, we can see that, we can study that objectively. Durkheim saying even religion can be considered as things. Division of labor also can be considered as things. But what Max Weber, who is a non-positivist, what he will say is social facts are not pebbles in the beach to go and pick like things. It is exactly opposite. That is what we are saying here.
Okay, sir.
If you look from the positivist side, you can say everything in support of them because they want to make it similar to natural science. You can say it is observable because the way you are behaving is in accordance with some external reality. You are either pressurized by family, religion, or any social institution. So your act is in conformity to some external reality for positivist. I'm expecting all of you are able to follow the language that I'm using, but these are simple terms only. But further we will move to complex terms, but step by step we'll go. So individual actions that I am acting here, it is a social action that I'm interacting with you. It is effectively conformity to some external aspect. If that external aspect, like my family is not there, I may not sit here and I may not talk. Okay, but what the non-positive, for example, you are preparing for civil service, you want to become IAS. So you may think that it is out of your own motivation, but no, it is because of societal pressure. Society is giving so much of prestige and power to this post. So you want to become one, and for your family, for getting married, people are preparing for civil services. So all these are conformity to some external reality. This is what positivist will say. But for everything in sociology, contrary opinion is there. So that is what we are discussing here. That is what I'll discuss under critique. On one side I support, here I criticize.
Okay, sir.
So inductivism considered true knowledge as one which is induced from observable facts and reason. There is a method of theory building. So these three ideologies inspired the initial sociologists to think of a social world as empirical and capable of being reduced into universal laws based on cause and effect relationship. So initial sociologists, they wanted to make universal laws based on cause and effect relationship. In sociology, positivism first came through French tradition, borrowing heavily from philosophy. Auguste Comte introduced sociological positivism. So sociological positivism emerged as a deviation from pre-existing perspective. For example, early sociologists were neither purely empiricist nor inductivist. So positivism means, before positivism, the general idea is empiricism, inductivism and naturalism. But early sociologists were not purely empiricist nor inductivist. You can see here in the coming paragraph, according to Saint Simon, positivism was rooted in developing a science of society which is analogous to natural science like physics. And I've told you already, he even dreamt of social physics similar to natural science physics. Auguste Comte framed a basic assumption of sociological positivism. According to him, true knowledge is based on thinking about physical and social world as a system of causal relationship between the realities that we can directly or indirectly observe. So here the key word is directly observe is what till now we have seen. Now indirect observation also he is talking about. This is very different from arguing that we can only derive knowledge from direct observation. Comte writes, the search for laws uses reason as well as observation, so it is neither purely inductivist nor empiricist. For example, religion and all, it is not purely empiricist, but we can derive knowledge from observation. Positivism was further enriched by Durkheim and to an extent Marx also. Durkheim emphasized and exhibited the use of scientific methods as an integral aspect of positivist understanding. So this we will study in detail, Durkheim. Okay, I don't know what happened here. Some previous class it got like this. I will correct it. The main element of sociological positivism identified as, now here onwards it is very important. I've already told you, it's all about external reality, scientific method, cause and effect, testing, objectivity, theory building. Okay, so scientific study of society should be confined to collecting information of phenomena that can be objectively observed and classified. Positivism thus emphasis on the study of external realities only. Okay, Comte argued that sociologists should never be concerned with internal meanings, motives, feelings of an individual. So how will you criticize this point? You use Weber or any non-positivist. You can use phenomenology, ethnomethodology. All these we are going to study in the next session. Positivists advocate the use of scientific methods. This is the second point. Initial positivists stressed on the use of methods similar to natural science, but later positivists developed methods particularly for sociology. I've told you this already. Durkheim, in his theory of suicide, considered as a landmark in positivist research using method from natural science. Which method? Statistical techniques. Statistical techniques. We will study this theory. But in his later writings, theory of religion, he used a comparative method which is specifically devised for social science. Which method it was? Indirect experiment. Indirect experiment, or it is also known as single case experiment. We will study that in the theory. Okay, so all the references that I'm making when I'm discussing this, we will be doing it later, so you don't want to worry about all those things. Similarly, Weber also developed scientific methods for specific to sociology. You will see Verstehen. Okay, don't worry about these words, this is just comprehension only. Verstehen, causal pluralism means plurality of causes. Okay, then causal probabilism, comparative analysis, then ideal types. All these can be asked as separate question. All these are 10 markers. Okay, so we will discuss all these in detail. So here we can add examples. So you can just write examples this. Now positivism involves looking for correlation between observable facts leading to development of theories which are supposed to be universally applicable. So here theory building, okay, universally applicable theory building. This implies a pure preference for inductive theories. So positivism not only talking about explanation but also prediction. Okay, the universal laws are so devised that they help in discovering the laws which generate the future course of society. Positivism also argue for development of scientific knowledge which is testable, that is the true knowledge is something which is testable. Apart from this, positivism in general emphasis on value freedom or objectivity as its guiding principle. Objectivity means what? Freedom from all personal biases. The personal biases coming from where? Values. Okay, like my patriarchal value will bring patriarchal bias, like male child is preferred, male child is superior, like that. So objectivity will be hindered through value. That's why you need value freedom. Freedom from value. That means value neutrality. We will discuss this in the next session. Critical, now the criticism. Okay, so criticism. So whenever we write criticism, not in these areas, especially in thinkers, we follow this formula CCR. The C is the contribution, and then this C is the criticism, and then relevance. So even in this question you can write maybe one line contribution, one line relevance, and few criticism. Especially we follow this in thinkers. Okay, positivism is still considered as a perspective which provided initial motivation for the establishment of sociology as a distinct discipline. So one line we have written some contribution that provided initial motivation for the establishment of sociology as a distinct discipline. The emphasis on theory building and objectivity provided the much required initial legitimacy to the discipline. So this we can say contribution. But in the beginning of 20th century, positivist perspective came under huge critique by virtue of various interrelated problems faced in theorization and its application. The various problems include Gradually, it was acknowledged that instead of inductive approach, deductive approach is more suitable in sociology. Okay. Moreover, Karl Popper in his book The Logic of Scientific Discovery highlighted the scientific factor of deductive approach. According to him, there is no contradiction between positivism and deductivism. Next point. Is this point is clear? Any doubt here? This is okay, no? So in sociology, deductive approach is better. That is the point on about. Second, positivism is considered by few as fundamental misunderstanding of social reality. Why? Because sociology is dealing with human beings, and study of human consciousness or meanings are essential for understanding the complete reality. But the positivist emphasis on external aspect can be understood as partial understanding of society. So now you can write non-positivist. They focus more on meanings, motives, etc. So why it is partial understanding of reality or fundamental misunderstanding of reality? Because you are only studying the external aspect. But human beings composed of meanings, motives, emotions, etc., which are considered very important. Now, next, the overemphasis on universalism has led this approach being practically inapplicable. Okay, because it is obvious limitation to apply the theories. Various theories developed by positivists claim to be universal have seldom proved the same in reality. For example, Comte's laws of social organization suffered a large number of logical problems, resulting in its rejection. Next point, complete objectivity is not always possible in sociology. In spite of all efforts, the assumptions of positivism could never be realized in practice in sociology. Moreover, the later sociologists or theorists even claim that absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable in sociology. The method used in natural science would never be used in sociology with ease. You cannot use it easily like that. Even the use of statistical techniques by Durkheim in his theory of suicide faced severe criticism in terms of its application. Although positivists later devised specific scientific methods for sociology, I have told you Durkheim developed method, Weber developed method, but these methods also suffered with problems like biases, problems in application, etc. That means subjectivity. Okay, problems in application means you need a trained investigator, etc. We will see that. There is a limit to testability in sociology. Even universal theories framed by positivists could not be tested empirically. In due course of time, even the positivists also reverted to more reliance on reason rather than empirical test for validating their theories. Okay, so these are the criticisms of positivism. So we basically talked about these elements. Just need to remember this. What are the elements? First of all, this is the most important one. External aspects and use of scientific methods. Okay, and then establishment of cause and effect, and then theory building, through which process? Induction. Okay, and then when you talk about methods, quantitative methods, okay, and then objectivity, and then it should be testable. So these are the elements that should fit into your question or answer, and then everything else will automatically flow. If you understood whatever I have told, introduction, you can write something, because you can say sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. Initial sociologists wanted to make it similar to natural science, so they employed methods directly from natural science, and they incorporated the first perspective or the initial perspective from science, which is a positivist perspective. And positivist perspective is based on the certain assumptions like empiricism, naturalism, and inductivism. But in sociology, the positivism is highly borrowed from philosophy, especially by Auguste Comte. And there are some modifications, like initial sociologists were neither purely empiricist nor inductivist. And then you can start writing about these components, and you can explain that. You can criticize also. Each and every point you can criticize. That's it. So this is how you should write your answer. Okay, any doubt now so far?
Sir, I want to know the meaning of this line. Sociological positivism emerged as a deviation from pre-existing perspective.
Yeah.
So what is this Pre-existing perspective.
Pre-existing perspective means we are talking about positivism. Positivism as a perspective is already there. From where? Science. In natural science and even in social science also, like in philosophy I've told you already. So basically this perspective is already there, but when we borrowed this perspective to sociology, there were some changes. So there is a deviation from the pre-existing concept of positivism. Pre-existing concept of positivism is what we have discussed as empiricism, inductivism, naturalism. But when it came to sociology, I've told you, it can be neither purely empiricist nor inductivist. So that is what that deviation means.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Anything else? Others? Agila?
Also,
Okay.
sir, please can you differentiate between positivism and social positivism once again?
Positivism.
Just a brief.
Yeah,
Okay.
positivism means it was already there. It is a very old perspective. It is related to science. So when we talk about simply positivism, it is related to science. And when sociology emerged, so what was the attempt of initial sociologists? They wanted to make it similar to natural science. So what they can do, if you want to make it similar to natural science, borrow their method. So positivism came to sociology. But when this positivism came to sociology, there is a deviation. This positivism is all about empiricism, inductivism, naturalism. But when it came to sociology, it is neither purely empiricist nor purely inductivist. That means you can derive knowledge through observations also. Like if you need to study religion, then sociology study religion, family, etc. Can we say these are empirical? You cannot see religion, but you can observe and you can understand things. So that is the deviation.
Okay.
Alright? Yeah. Anything else?
No, sir.
So tomorrow we will not have class. We will meet on Monday. Okay?
Okay, sir. Sir,
Yeah, tell me, Agla.
major theoretical standards of research methodologies means?
Major theoretical strands means what are the major theoretical strands, important perspectives, everything. Like one we already discussed, macro, micro. You know already this one, right? Then we talk about positivism versus non-positivism. Okay? Then we talk about objectivity versus subjectivity. Scientific versus humanistic. Okay? And then functionalist perspective versus conflict perspective. Quantitative versus qualitative. Okay? And then inductive
Okay.
versus deductive. I can take it now also, but you know the fact is, if I explain it now, you will feel slightly difficult. This already you know, micro, macro. But I can explain this concept once we complete positivism, non-positivism. Similarly, objectivity, subjectivity also we can explain after completing positivism. This also I can explain after completing it. And functional conflict I can explain after completing Marx and Durkheim, because these are the perspective used by them. Similar is the case with this also. So that is why I have kept it for later.
Okay.
Actually it is done. Only this is enough. You need to elaborate this. And you know, yeah.
Actually, towards this conflict, rest of the things we know.
Yeah, functional conflict. Rest of the things also we need to elaborate further. We will have to discuss more. That's why I'm keeping it aside. So, see, I've told you already when we discussed about scope of sociology also, even though we are studying it now, you're going to learn a lot and you will learn the scope in a better way. So, I'm keeping it aside. This is the approach that I'm generally following. These are topics which you will be in a position to write your better and best answer later, if not discussing now. This we will discuss later.
Okay, sir.
What is epistemological approach?
We will discuss when it comes to non-positivism. After that, we'll discuss.
Okay.
What else? It was actually asked as a question. We'll see that. I'll discuss that.
Which question, sir?
The one which you have asked, no, this is asked in previous year.
No. I'm only asking, it is related to deduction and induction.
It is related.
Research in sociology, research sociology have two approaches, which is called epistemological approach, deduction, induction. So what is epistemological? The word, I'm asking the meaning of this word, epistemology.
Epistemological approach, I think it is coming in deductivism. Let me see, we will discuss that after discussing non-positivism. I think this question was asked in recent year only. This question was asked. I have seen this question. I don't remember. I'll get back to this.
Okay, sir.
Then one more problem is there, that research methods. When we discuss about research methods, they have only talked about research methods in general. Like there is one topic which is given research methods. So this is a topic that you may face some difficulty because a lot of quantitative methods are there, a lot of qualitative methods are there, all are coming under research methods. So like some years they will ask content analysis. So till then nobody know what is content analysis, but because we can't study these these topics. So what I want to tell you is, if you look into the syllabus, rarely some year, this was asked in 2012. So till 2012 actually nobody was knowing this. Okay, serendipity, like this 2-3 questions you will see, that is actually considered as worst year in sociology. So you don't want to worry about those questions, and everybody's situation will be the same.
Even considering the worst year or question like this, is it possible for one to score 170?
Yes. This is a situation for all.
Considered.
This is a situation for all, and 170 is easily achievable in paper 1.
Because 3 chapters, in paper 1, 3 chapters are dry,
Not
So,
dry, only research method you will face problem. Other research method, only this topic you will face problem. Why you are facing problem? It is because, unlimited methods are there. If you see research methods, nobody is specifying what method. In case of thinkers, we know only 6 thinkers and we know the studies and we can study that and nobody can do anything. But in case of research method, hundreds of methods are there. So what you will study, we can study the methods which is actually used in sociology, the methods which is talking about or talked about by the thinkers. Like what I have told you, Verstehen, ideal types, indirect experiment, causal pluralism, statistical techniques, all this we can study, but we cannot study everything. That's what I'm saying.
So, sir, I'm asking that whether we are going to find it difficult to remember so many thinkers, name of the so many thinkers and the books.
No. You are not going to forget anything. Even if you want to, you won't forget any thinker.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, what is the meaning of dry chapters?
Which one? Dry means it's all about theory chapters, theoretical. Okay. Can we stop?
So, are we going to have some lab experiment in thinkers, because they're the practical?
No. Nothing practical. All the thinkers, none of the thinkers are practically applicable now. Now, if you want to, you can try Marxism.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So there is one more line. Moreover, Karl Popper in his book The Logic of Scientific Discovery highlighted the scientific factor of deductive approach.
Yes.
According to him, there is no contradiction between positivism and deductivism. Can you elaborate this line a little more?
Okay.
That according to him, there is no contradiction between positivism and deductivism.
Okay.
Sir, why Karl Popper is comparing positivism with deductivism?
I've told you already.
We can compare inductivism, that is the method used by the positivist, with the deductivism.
No, actually, he is comparing He is combining inductivism and deductivism only. In that context only, he is saying positivism and deductivism, because in positivism you are stressing only on inductivism. You can even use deductivism also in positivism. It is not compromising. Even deductive approach is also scientific. Gargi, you are following certain approaches in deductive method, like you will go for survey method, you will go for questionnaires, you will go for different approaches. All these are scientific also. So even in deductive approach, there is a scientific factor. You cannot completely say deductive approach is non-scientific. So yesterday, if you remember, we have discussed the science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. So if the method of inquiry is scientific, that is considered as science. So here also in positivism, you can conduct a method of inquiry in a scientific way by using deductive approach. So if positivism is all about scientific inquiry, then deductivism is basically scientific inquiry only. So there is no contradiction between positivism and deductivism.
Sir, have we any example where a positivist used deductivism and a non-positivist used inductivism? Have we any example regarding
There are different studies, for example, Sociology. I will be talking about all these studies in the coming sessions. At this point, Sociology, okay, very famous non-positivist, ardent critic. He's a very big critique of quantitative methods, okay, and he only used qualitative method, that means deductive approach, but in his theory of juvenile justice, very famous theory. And in this theory, he actually used extensive use of quantitative methods, even though he is a super critique of quantitative method. But you don't bother about these things at this point of time. We will be covering everything.
So David Harvey used both the methods.
Different people, nowadays people are using integrated approach. People use based on their convenience. If you see that Nitin Sangwan, he in that a lot of people are mentioned, this person has used this much and all these things are there. So you don't want to go after all these things. Nowadays, it is better for you to tell from Parson onwards, everybody is using different approach based on the convenience. There is no theoretical purity. Nobody want to say I am a positivist. Nobody want to say I am a non-positivist. It is all depend on, the ends are more important, not the means.
Sir, Imai Durkheim was the pure positivist or not?
Pure positivist.
Pure positivist.
Yeah, because during that
method and quantitative method, right?
Yes, during that time only this debate is there. Durkheim and Weber, during their time only this debate is there. I've told you, one is the formal school and one is the synthetic school. And after that, actually, this integration happened. This is micro and this is macro. So this integration happened with whom? Parson. When? In 1940s. And then this approach is actually followed, integrated approach.
Sir, is there a relation between positivist and functionalist?
Positivist, the functionalist, see, if you ask me, there is a relation. Durkheim was a positivist, right? No confusion in that, right? Durkheim.
Yes, sir.
Durkheim was a positivist.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
He is a functionalist. Okay?
Yes.
Now, Marx is a positivist. If you remember, I have told you to an extent Marx is also positivist. Why we are using the word to an extent is because Marx is not a pure sociologist. So Marx is also positivist because he is also studying about external reality. He is also trying to understand, society as supreme. So Marx is a conflict theorist. So can you say, is there any correlation here? Both are positivist, both are different perspective. Now, one more. When you talk about Parson, which approach? Positivism or non-positivism?
Non-positive.
Not non-positivism. Parson, I have told you, integrated approach. Mixed approach. And Parson was the person who took functionalism to its logical conclusion. So he is also a functionalist. So I don't know whether you can establish a direct correlation. There are positivists were also functionalist. Mixed approach people were also functionalist. And non-positivists were not following conflict theory also.
Okay.
Okay.
The functionalist or conflict theorist, okay, these are the perspectives, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
what we call positivist and non-positive, the person who are following positivist approach or non-positivist approach, what we call this, the particular sociologist?
Positivist, simple, positivist and non-positivist. If it is non-positivist, further we will divide into phenomenologist, ethnomethodologist, interactionist, interpretive sociology, like that. Different terms are there within some sections.
Is not a perspective.
You can say it is a perspective or it is an approach, whatever is convenient you can say. It is an initial perspective also, you can say. It is an initial perspective to see the things scientifically.
Okay, and the functionalist?
That is also a perspective, yeah.
It is also approach.
Functionalism is also an approach. Approach means seeing things in a different way. It is also a perspective. Perspective and approach and all these are, almost same.
Okay.
It is all about seeing things in a different way.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So can you give an example of integrated approach?
Integrated approach, Parson is talking about, this micro, macro. When you talk about micro, you are talking about emotions, meanings only, okay? You are talking only from individual side. When you talk about macro, you are giving society, you are considering society as supreme. So there are obvious exclusions in both. If you are saying society as supreme, you are ignoring. If you are saying society as supreme, if you are saying society as supreme, you are ignoring the individual aspect. If you are saying individual as supreme, you are ignoring the pressure exerted by the society on you. So there is an exclusivism favored by this two perspective. Parson integrate that exclusivism. Parson says both are important. For example, this is an individual actor. You are an actor and you have goal. What is your goal? You want to become IAS officer. So this is your goal and this is you as a person. Okay, this is you. And you have different means to achieve this goal, like mean 1, mean 2, like this. N number of means are there. You can go to XYZ coaching institute, you can go to XYZ mentors, XYZ test series, XYZ materials you can follow. Different means are there. But which among that you will select depends on two factors. So let's suppose you select this. The selection of this mean depends on two factors. One is your own motivation. Your mind says you have to go with this person or you have to go with this material. Secondly, the values of society. The values of society. Like this coaching institute is better, which is already fixed, right? So you go there. Like this institution is there for 20 years and they have created a lot of people, a lot of aspirants. So you go to that institute like that. So society will tell you something and your mind also will tell you something. You believe, you take, decisions on the basis of both. So you take some means. You select some means. So both are required. That is why integrated approach. Then integration of different things you will see, micro, macro, inductive, deductive, scientific, humanist, all these integrations you will see in the future sessions. We will study everything, no? Why in so much of hurry? Okay.
So actually I was getting confused.
Now is that over?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
That will be over after completing the session, the next session, or at least when we reach up to Parson.
Okay, sir.
Anything else? Can we stop here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir.